Do you know when you ask a child what her future will be like and chances that she wants to have superpowers or just be big? If you ask the younger me what my life would be like by the age of 16, I would probably answer that I'll be taller than my father, have a lot of friends, walk along the city, be completely independent, and have a long, long hair. I always had a lot of imagination, and I always loved to read. Translating the letters into images and sound, though everything was religiously silent, was a way for a kid, human and muggle, to become special. All stories made me really believe that the material, normal life wasn't the only one, and that magic existed. By a certain age, I started to see black. My vision would start to get dark on the peripheral area till everything became black and I would get a little dizzy. But my imagination was so fertile that I thought it was something magical that was happening to me, or that I was getting secret information from the universe. I always wanted to be special, but while I was growing up, I had to deal with the fact that the magic world was getting each day more distant from me. I would get inside the closet in my house, and I thought that if I really forgot about the panel at the back, it would disintegrate, and I would be able to reach Narnia. But I didn't discover a magic wardrobe at 8, and I didn't receive my Hogwarts letter at 11, and the satire didn't tell me I was a demigod by 12. So my last hope was that Gandalf would take me on an adventure by the age of 50. But in the meantime, by the age of 13, I suddenly became someone special, though it really wasn't the way I asked it for. Actually, the universe wasn't giving me secret information, but it was dragging me into a black hole. By the day of September 23rd of 2015, at 7:35 in the morning, I got late to my old school, as always, because the city bus took too much time to get to my house, as always. I walked in class and fell in the middle of the class, in front of everyone. I didn't see a backpack that was on the floor. I got to my seat, and I realized I couldn't see the letters on the chalkboard. I couldn't read. So I called my mom, and later that day I went to the hospital, thinking about how cool it would be to have a nice pair of glasses. But I didn't get them. I didn't even leave the hospital that day. I was diagnosed with hydrocephalus, not a very creative word that means you have too much liquid in your brain. And I'll tell you a spoiler. In my case, it was because a glioma was formed in the passage between the first and third ventricle on the base of my head. This wouldn't let the liquid in my brain flow. It would get in and couldn't leave, what made my intracranial pressure very high and was damaging my optical nerves. But the doctors didn't realize that. I underwent one surgery, then another, and another and another. I was in a spiral, a cycle, that every time me and my parents were starting to get up, life would hit us and we would fall. And again and again. My world turned upside down and we were all anesthetized by the situation. My magic thoughts were suddenly replaced by a cascade of saints and entities that were just as immaterial as my hope on Gandalf. The problem was that the doctor felt certain he knew what was wrong with me. But since my problem was caused by a completely different thing, too much liquid was drained. So they transformed my problem from high intracranial pressure to extremely low pressure. In 8 months, I underwent 4 surgeries with this procedure and 3 other ones to try to fix the mess this doctor made. But the damage was done. Then I could finally come back to school, but I wasn't the same anymore. Life continued for normal people, and I had lost many of the classic events and teenage crises, which honestly, I don't miss. I basically spent 1 year sleeping because since literature was taken away from me, this was the only way to sink in another reality in the moment I most needed. But hey, I'm here today. There's a sentence that says, I fell in a hole, came out as a giant. That's really how I feel, because every time something hard happens to you, there's a force, even if it's almost unnoticeable, that you bring you up again. And this time, you'll be much wiser. I can concentrate and have much more focus in one thing now. And eating, that's a completely different experience. Every time I eat bolinhos de chuva, raindrop cakes, I'm immediately transported to a good and safe place where there are clouds of sugar and cinnamon. And also, when I hear or play music, that's a way to escape from the difficulties I pass in my life. And now I can remember complete Bob Dylan's lyrics, which is quite crazy. My imagination is more intense than ever, because now I use it as one of the most important senses. It's the one who allows me to build a completely new world based on what I have seen and on other sensorial channels. I have to use imagination as a creative and logical instrument to survive on this reality that relies too much on visual stimulation. And I can do that because there's a difference between looking and seeing, as there is between hearing and listening. Seeing and listening aren't about an accurate capacity of your senses, but they mean sensibility, to understand things and have empathy with others. So for this, I think I can see better now than before. For an example, I can see you're paying attention. In Greek mythology, the most famous seer, Tiresias, was blind because he wasn't fooled with the traps of appearance in the visual world. You see, I'm definitely not the 16-year-old person I thought I would be, and I don't have the life I thought I would. But if you ask me, would I want to go back in time and prevent this all from happening? I learned so much that I don't want to miss who I am now. The answer is no. Thank you.